Hello, everybody. Welcome to NUFC Talk TV. See, I had muted myself there and forgot to unmute myself. But welcome to NUFC Talk TV. We got a good panel today to discuss all things Newcastle United. I'm Chris, the American Mag. We got Mighty Win, of course. We got a newcomer, Alan, right here. So welcome, Alan, to the channel, mate.
Welcome,
Appreciate
Alan.
you coming on. Hopefully, it
Thanks,
won't.
guys.
I guarantee you won't be the last time. He also has his YouTube channel called War Club, right? Is that a War Club?
Absolutely.
There you go.
Yeah.
So if you can give it a subscription, it would be lovely. You can just look it up at War Club after we're done on the channel. And of course, we got Tim. You know, you've getting used to seeing him already on a weekly basis. So let's discuss some news. Of course, if you're new out there, subscribe to the channel, hit the like button. Everybody hit the like button, please. Help us support the channel. You can, donate to the channel, super chats if you want to guarantee your comment to be read and maybe steer the topic of discussion towards the direction you want it to go to. You can do that by super chats. You can gift memberships away for people to enjoy their new perks and exclusive content, giveaways as well. We're already at half of the month, so we got 15 days left, and we're gonna have another giveaway. So I'm seeing a lot of people in the chat already. Roger Cook, Pete WW, AG, Beer Viking, everybody, Ian Fleming. So hit the like button, folks, and of course, let us know. Most importantly, let us know what you think about what we're discussing. And I just want to give a quick congrats to the ladies who beat the Mackhams. Not usually a connoisseur on women's football, but we still got to give them some love. And yesterday they beat the. Was it yesterday? Yeah, it was yesterday. No, Sunday. Yeah, they beat the Mackhams really good. They beat them like a drum at the Stadium of Light. They didn't even fill up their stadium, man. It's unbelievable. Um, we it's unbelievable how our fans are. We fill up anywhere we go. We're gonna be there. We might not know crap of what's happening, but we're gonna be there, filling the stadium. And we filled out. We bought the tickets that we're allowed to buy, the maximum allowed, and they couldn't even fill. I don't know the price that they put out there on social media. I don't. It's like £5. If that is true, which is surprising to me, I don't think it would be £5 to go watch this game. But if it was, unbelievable that they didn't even attempt to fill in the stadium. And as you see right now, right here, the lasses doing a little dance off in their locker room, excited that they beat the Mackhams. Good stuff, good images. And we got more stuff. I could not understand this guy. Please, Mighty Win, you're the Mackham translator. Um, Tell me what this dude is saying, man. Actually, I don't think I. Well, I'll get back to it. I'll get back to it because I can't share the sound. Actually, I'm gonna do it right. I'll go back to it. But I did see this though. Hot dog sausage served in a burger bun with ketchup. Oh,
You
come
get your
on,
hot
man.
dog sausage in a burger bun. You
Oh
get
my
your hot
goodness.
dog sausage in a burger bun. You
Who
get your
does
hot
that, man?
dog sausage in a burger bun. Sunderland's a massive club. All the
Unbelievable. And Becky Langley walking her dog. There you go. What's it? Isaac
Isaac,
style.
innit?
Isaac style. So good stuff there, man. I will try to get the Macam that was talking, because I could not understand a damn thing he was saying. It's literally 7 seconds. So I'll have to
Which
look it
keys
up.
are these keys?
No, not that one. Actually, let me look it up real quick. Yeah, there you go. So we're gonna put it on the screen. It's this guy right here on the top. On top. What is he saying, man? Because obviously, Dobie Solano is a Newcastle account, so clearly they're making fun of him. But let's take a listen. What the hell is he
can't hear that.
saying?
Can't hear it.
Oh, you can't hear it.
No.
Oh, come on, man. Let me see. Oh, there we go. We're gonna play it again.
Spirit of 37s display what they were going to do, but they're now allowing
Hear
them to
now.
do what the hell they like.
Oh yeah, we weren't like the
Spirit of 37s display what they were going to do, but they're now allowing them to do what the hell they like.
oh yeah.
What the hell is he saying, man? And I'm sure
Saying,
people are.
we weren't allowed to do what we want to do, but they're allowed to do whatever they want.
Oh my God! That's not the Queen's English, is it? Or the
It's
King's
Macam
now?
English, huh?
But oh my goodness, man. Anyways, we got to discuss Newcastle United, of course, for the men's team. But congrats to the ladies. Well done on.
Adult six prices,
Uh,
£6.
wow, so it
Junior
was six
£3.
pounds. 6 pounds, and you can't go, man. Like that is unbelievable, unbelievable. And it's supposed to be a derby. At your stadium, just to even go and make a statement, I would go fill it up. But they didn't. So there you go. They had to even use their flags to cover the seats and everything, which was it's crazy. But anyways, let's talk Newcastle United men's team. Of course, that's what our bread and butter is. And according to, let me go back to it. The Shields Gazette is reporting right now that Newcastle United are not looking to renew and will allow Kieran Trippier and Callum Wilson to leave the Premier League club at the end of the season when their contracts expire at St. James's Park. Now that's an interesting topic, and of course, you take this source with a grain of salt, really. I mean, but at the end of the day, their contracts do expire. Kieran Trippier wanted to leave this summer, and it was even said it was coming down to the wire, I believe. It just ran out of time, basically. And Callum Wilson, of course, doesn't stay fit. So is the club making an executive decision and saying, you know what, the one of them wants to leave, so it is what it is. The other one, um, the other ones can't stay fit. So why keep wasting time? Why giving them another contract, guaranteeing them money, when we can't guarantee them one to want to stay and the other to stay healthy? Let me start with Alan. Alan, you're a newbie, so we're gonna get you the word first. I'm tired of hearing the mighty win, so we'll go with you, Tim, and last but not least, the mighty win. Alan, what do you think about this, mate?
Yeah, I think it's a hard one because I think they've both been great servants for the club. They both give everything to the cause, and I think the place with Kieran Trippier is, I think, what you maybe lose on the pitch if we do get rid of him, you lose more off it. I think he's going to be a great sort of mentor to the likes of not just Lewis Hall but Tino Livramento, and I think you can't buy that. You can't buy the knowledge. You can't buy the experience, and I think that is what you lose more with Kieran Trippier if we get rid of him. So I think if he was to go, it would be a huge miss. But I think with Callum Wilson, Callum, when fit, gets in the starting 11, no questions asked. But he can't stay fit. The bloke is made of glass. And I think it's such a shame because he's proven to get you goals. But the poor bloke just cannot remain fit for a long duration. And it's such a shame because he seems such a genuine bloke, such a great goal scorer. But, there's no sentiment in football, is there?
Very good point right there. You gotta tell that the mighty win though. He's got Amanda Stavely tatted on. He's got Wilson. He's getting a Wilson tatted on his neck. But Tim, what do you think, mate? It's Alan makes good points. The leadership is one thing that you can't buy. Well, I mean, I guess you can if you buy the right player, but at this point in time, you can't really spend much. Um, and so Kieran Trippier is interesting because against Man City, I thought he was back, and then the next game doesn't perform that good. But clearly, he's been wanting to leave. So, what do you think about this?
I agree with everything Alan said there, and with Trivia, I think it kind of depends on like what your situation is and how. If he's really desperate to leave, then as much as I would want him to stay, and I think like you say, his leadership skills especially are massive. But if he's absolutely desperate to stay, if it's to do with family reasons, to go, if it's to do with family reasons, off the pitch stuff, then it's probably best. I mean, if Eddie Howe can somehow get his head right and he can crack on for the next 6 months from January, then fine. But I just think maybe if he's agitating the move that much, maybe it is best just to give him the handshake. Be a shame, but do you want a player? Do you know what I mean? Who deep down he'll do his best not to show it, and he is professional. He's been amazing since he's came in that way. But if he deep down really wants to go, is it hard maybe to mask that all the time? So that's what I kind of think about Trippier. But like Alan says, like he's been absolutely brilliant since he's came in and had sticky moments last season. But we shouldn't forget he was the first one to sign when we got to take over when we're in deep shit. And massive respect to him. With Callum Wilson, I think we might have missed, the optimum time to sell him. And I think is it Eddie Howe being too loyal to Wilson? Again, brilliant player. Like you say, when he's fit, he'll score goals. But I think off the back of last season, obviously the warning signs were there. Some might say maybe the season we finished fourth was the time to sell him. But certainly I think in the summer, I think it was the time. To be fair, he got injured in the summer, so it would have been before then. Once he was injured, it was never going to happen. But I think we need to identify when is that right time to sell, because anybody can see if a player is, past the best, they're no use anymore. Any Joe Blogs can say that player should be sold, but it's down to the people who are getting paid the big bucks to make the decisions to see actually this is the right time. It might not look on the outside and on the surface, it might seem a weird decision, but now is the time to sell to get the money, because we can see what's coming down the line and to replace them. So I think we missed a trick, not being clever, selling them, if not this window, maybe even the last window. It depends as well on maybe the formation Eddie Howe wants to play. I've said quite a few times, I think I'd be toying with potentially playing two strikers or maybe a number 10 type striker.
Yeah.
But if he's going to be playing the 4-3-3, then obviously you're not going to have as many strikers.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Mighty Wayne, you and I have disagreed on this, a lot.
Wise words from both of the gentlemen.
Yeah.
The thing is with Trippier, I think it would be well worth renewing his contract just to be a calming influence and a force for good behind the scenes. But I think Trippier wants to play, and he wants to play regular football. And if that means he'll be quite happy to drop down a level in order to do so. He's said as much. He wants to play football for absolutely as long as he can. And so I don't think he would be happy as a Livramento backup, for want of a better expression, plus force for good behind the scenes. So that's where I stand with Trips. I would certainly, if he was happy to stay, I would definitely give him a couple of years, for to do what we've been paying Dummett and Ritchie and Lascelles for 3 years now. As far as Wilson's concerned, I think it'd be a mistake to sell him. Big mistake to sell him.
But why though? You can't count on him. We've had this conversation before.
Yeah. Well,
you can't count on him. You rather not see him in anywhere.
If you reckon you can't count on him, nobody's going to come and buy him, are they?
Well, but the point is their contract is expiring, so you don't have to.
Yeah.
Their contract will expire, so you don't have to. Nobody will have to.
Somebody else has still got to give him a contract.
Yeah, but they're going. So
yeah,
that's not Newcastle's problem anymore.
What are we bidding against? What's he going to get offered? I would say to his agent, what's somebody going to pay him? We'll have a look at it, and if we think it's worth it, we'll pay him the same. Because if I was anybody else coming in to buy Callum Wilson, the only way I would give him a contract would be more or less on a pay per play basis.
Yeah, but you can't do that.
So that if he's not fit, he doesn't get paid. Well, that's the point. And you're saying he won't take that. He won't take that contract.
Callum Wilson, like any other footballer, will never just say, "I'm going to play based on what I do is score goals or games
Well,
available,
there
whatever.
you go. Well, who's
No,
going to buy him then?
they
Yeah,
don't
just
have
Do
to
you
one
buy
believe
him.
thing.
that someone is going to come in for him though, Win? Do you believe that there is going to be a team that comes in and says, you know what, we're going to put cash on the table,
I
we
don't think
want
they
Callum
will.
Wilson?
No, I don't.
No?
Specifically because of his injury, I don't think anybody will come in and do that. So I
Okay.
don't think we've got a whole lot to worry about in that respect. But
Yeah,
I
but
still
but
believe if we keep Wilson for the season with the amount of games we'll get out of him, he'll score 10 goals. There you go.
If his wage can free up a spot, it's about balancing. I think that the players and numbers, that we have. So
Well, we
if
haven't
if
got a
I,
lot
if
of
I could give
numbers.
him if I could give him a contract to say like exactly what you said, Win, then I think that's perfect. If you can say, look, it's a lower wage, it's pay to play. If he's happy with that, fine. I'd
Yeah,
be like,
well, that,
no
that,
worries.
that,
Mm.
But
and that's what I
like you
would
say,
do
Chris, I think
because
realistically,
I
he's
think
probably not
that's
going
the
to
only
go for
offer
that.
he's going to get.
he
Well,
will get a Bournemouth contract, and that's more money than what you're intended him to
Well,
get. So
you're
he will
saying
sign
that.
that.
How do you know he'll get a Bournemouth contract?
He would get he can play for a team like that. He'll play for Brentford. He'll play for those teams will want him. Teams that are there to stay in the league.
Yeah, well,
Um,
that's the other thing that I would seriously consider is make it, go to Brentford for Mbeumo's sake and say, right, instead of giving you 80 million, we're going to give you 60 million in Callum Wilson.
but no, because they're going to lose money. They're going to lose money. They wouldn't do that because they can trust that Mbeumo is a good talent. They will probably give Wilson, I don't know, a 30, 40K contract for a year or two
Right, so
years. But
you're
that's not the
saying
same.
what you're saying is anybody that's going to buy Wilson are only going to offer him a 30 to 40K contract.
Yeah. What do
Right,
you
right.
expect to
So what
make?
I would say to Wilson is, we'll give you a 30, 40K contract, but with massive earnable bonuses.
but would that wage
If you play instead of getting 30 grand a week, you'll get 50 grand a week, 70
would
grand
that
a week, whatever.
what's a dynamic then with getting another striker in? Would you
Exactly.
want to get another striker in to
Hey,
compete with
yes.
Isak
Well,
and Zula?
I would want to get an elite striker in.
No, but that's the thing though. Right now. That's why Tim is good. I mean, Tim is earning his spot. He's definitely not like Wilson. Not he's earning his spot because it's spot on what he's saying. Eddie will, and you mentioned Eddie's loyalty as well. Eddie will play Wilson if he's available, no matter if he overshadows Osula, no matter if he overshadows whoever they bring. Because elite, are we going to bring somebody that's as good as Cisak? Let's be honest. Are we? Who
Well,
is out there that's as good as
that's what
Isak?
I'm looking for. I'm
Yeah,
looking for us
who?
going and paying
Who?
top dollar for a top
Because I think that
class
I think
striker.
Eddie thinks and rates, and I rate Isak as well is one of the best strikers in the league. Uh, to play nine. So if he plays nine, whoever comes next is only going to be their sub or his sub. So who are, I just and Eddie probably will play Callum Wilson over Asula. And who would you rather bet on at this point? Somebody that you can trust will be healthy. Give him time, he's playing he's going to play every week like Osula. He's already on the bench. So if he's not fit enough, if he's not old enough, if he's not mature enough, then he should have been loaned out already. Apparently, something they saw in him, so he's in there, but he will never get a minute. Callum Wilson when Callum Wilson is on there, and so
And I
what
think that's
risk do
right
you rather
because
take?
Callum Wilson's better than Asula when fit.
Because Callum Wilson will play on his reputation, which is being a better striker. He's got a better career so far, obviously, but you cannot depend on him. You can't.
Right. So when he's not there, you've got Asula.
No, but I mean, it just makes no sense, man. He'll be the third striker and never be played. Not going to be played often. So it just
Well,
makes no sense.
listen. I hope that's the case because if that's the case, it means Wilson's fit.
He's not going
And
to be
that's
played often
exactly what
because
we want.
he's not going to be played often because it would take Callum Wilson to get hurt, which could happen. It will happen actually, but it also takes Isak to be hurt. So it the poor guy is not going to get a chance. He didn't even get a chance against Everton with no striker.
Well,
So I don't know,
which
Alan.
I
You
think
guys
was
want
a
to pitch in?
mistake.
Yeah, it's to be honest, do you know what it is? I think if Callum Wilson was fit, I think we don't even have to have this discussion. We'd have two top quality strikers, and I think we'd be more than happy. The fact that he's not, I think we're really looking at the point of if 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 Callum Wilson, who is injured, is going to get us a couple of goals and we're happy with that, I think our level of ambition isn't big enough. I think we need to have two or three people who are going to be there week in, week out, and are going to push each other for competition all the time. I think with Callum Wilson in the squad, like I say, if he was fit, fantastic, but he's not. And I think a lot of people keep sort of pushing this to one side where we reminisce and we think of when he is fit. He's not fit all the time, though.
Yeah, I agree with
But
He
that.
is
but see,
not fit all the time.
but Mighty Win prefers those 5 empty goals that he gives you a season that mean nothing really to not have him anywhere else.
What
And
do
to
you
me,
mean?
you
It
got to
mean
look at
nothing?
you got to look at your team and say, you know what, this guy's overshadowing a young guy that could be better. We don't know, but we'll never know if we don't give an opportunity, or even just go out there. If you don't like Osula, perfect, then go out there and get another one that you can rely on. You know,
Because Isak hasn't got that challenge, has he? So he hasn't got the
he doesn't.
challenge from
No,
from Wilson.
when he
So
did
he
have
hasn't
the
got the challenge.
challenge,
No, yeah.
when Callum was fit, that's it. When we had them
But
both
I
fit,
know, but
Yeah, but Isaac
I
very
agree
knows
that
well.
he's not going to be fit. So
he's
he's not going to be fit enough to give that challenge. So Asula isn't trusted to give that challenge, clearly. So
exactly.
that's why I forgot the third striker. You've got. I'll throw a name out like Evan Ferguson. I don't know how realistic that is from Brighton. But somebody who you know is quality. I mean, granted, he was injured last season, so maybe that's not the best example. But if we can get another striker who can compete to come in when Isak isn't there, who you know has got quality, and then you've got Asula in the background who's very raw, who can stay in the background and make some appearances, make some cup appearances, maybe even go out on loan and get him recalled if we need to, then to me, that's a better balance than having Isak and Wilson, who you know is going to break down at any moment, and Asula, who isn't trusted. So I think we need to spend some money. It's very difficult because you're asking a striker to come where he's not necessarily going to be first choice because we've got Isak. So I know it's not easy, but if we can get a quality striker, they may be younger, maybe not as young as Asula, but can get a quality striker to compete with Isak and then have Asula in the background. To me, that's what we need to be doing.
Well, Beer Wagon here saying Andy Carroll available for cheap and is fitter than Wilson. You're telling me, like, I'm just
Shut
gonna
up,
put this
man.
out to the question. Now, hold on, wait a minute. I'm just gonna put this to the question. Put this to the question to the panel. Why couldn't Andy Carroll be a second striker, a bench to come off the bench? Why couldn't he?
Because he's past it.
I don't know. He's still playing. He's playing more than Wilson. I'm just saying. You if you want to keep Wilson, I'm just throwing a shitty, a rather shitty option there. But regardless, you know, it makes more sense because you're going to be able to rely on him. If you think about it, people were saying, including the mighty win here, who flip flops like a pancake. He when our window was ended, he said it was ending actually. He said, "I'm not going to complain because we have a better squad than we did before. Because Osula is better than Parkinson. So all of a sudden that improves our squad, right? All right. So Osula doesn't get a game, so it doesn't matter anymore. Everybody was looking at these little
Right,
options that we got
now
in. Like we
let's
got a lot of
let's
hold
just
on, hold on.
recap that again.
Hold on. We got a lot of goalkeepers. If one of our 3 midfielders goes down, we're back to Longstaff. We're back to injured Joe Willock. So we definitely don't have a thick midfield. If we're talking about our wingers, we got Murphy and Almiron. You know what you get there. Really, it is what it is. One plays good one game, the other one doesn't play good. It's just they switch bad games and good games. On the left side, you got Gordon, you got Harvey Barnes. You can put Barnes on the right. You can do something there. Something. Up front, Isak goes down. Callum Wilson's never reliable. So you don't have anybody. You seriously don't have a striker to trust on. How can, like Tim was saying, how can Eddie Howe? He has no trust. I mean, he as much as he comes out and says, you know, that yeah, Callum Wilson is professional and he wants to be. He knows what it takes to be. All of that's blah 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 because he doesn't stay fit. So we get into the same thing, man. He can be Van Basten for all we know, or Van Basten, but he's not. The fact of the matter is, he's not Mighty Win. No matter how much you wait, he's not, mate. So we were just wasting time. That's my opinion. On the Kieran Trippier side of things, we haven't discussed it. We got into the Callum Wilson. Kieran Trippier is interesting. We do have Livermento, but again, through with the games that we've seen this whole season, I've seen fans say when Livermento plays and doesn't play as good as people expect him to, they say, "Well, Livermento's not up to par yet." You see, fans also change, from game to game. So is Livermento going to be the one? Is Livermento good enough to start? And we shouldn't be worried if Trippier leaves. What do we do there? Because if he's not good enough, if Trippier leaves and Livermento's not good enough, then who's our right back? Kraft. He got a start today, by the way, or today was it against Sweden? So is that going to be enough? We don't have a deep squad, fellas. I don't know what you think.
Well, we've got a better squad than we would have had if we'd lost any of the crown jewels, which is why I said we'd had a good window because we kept a hold of everybody.
Settle it for
We need
less,
to
man.
keep a hold now.
We settle it for less.
To be honest, I think a lot of the problems that we have is the vast majority of our squad. They're not finished articles. There are question marks over everyone. Like you said, there are sometimes people have a good game. Next week it could be, a terrible one. Like you were saying about Almiron, Jacob Murphy, all the rest. There's other than, in my opinion, other than Isaac, there's no one who is an out and out star. So you're going to have this week in, week out. That is why the fans are going to flip flop, as you say, because of their sort of appearances on the pitch. So I think we need to take into account the fact that there isn't a lot of consistency there, and we have to understand that, and we've got to be prepared for that. Until we sort of deck out the squad with out and out stars, we're going to be in this predicament for a long time. Thankfully, the players that have been playing more or less have had decent performances, other than sort of one or two games where you think, wow, the criticism towards the likes of, say, Sean Longstaff, or you were saying you doubts in regards to Kraft, those type of players. But I think the vast majority have done all right when they've had the black and white shirt on.
Yep. Beer right here. Mighty Win says the best ability is availability. Also, the Mighty Win. Keep a player who will play 6 games a season.
Well, I think you'll get more than 6 games a season out of Callum Wilson. There you go.
Here we go,
He's
man.
never played only 6 games.
You're living on a prayer, brother. You're living on a prayer, man. I don't know if Tim, you wanted to jump in on that. What do you think about Trippier, man? And Livermento, are you happy with him?
It's a shame that Trippier, wants to leave, because it is a perfect combination with Livermento and Trippier with the understudy, and so I thought that was perfect going into this season. Whoever started, really, do you know what I mean? As long as they're both there, they could come in depending on form. I mean, you got to respect Trippier for wanting to play. If that's his reason, he just wants to play every game, then like I say, you got to respect that. But I think it is a bit difficult if he does go, because, like you say, who else we've got to come in? I think Kraft has been underrated for us, but it's more as a centre back these days, as a right back. So really, the only other player I think is Ashby, who's out on loan, who's never really had a chance. But I wonder if we signed him just to flip him to get money. It seems a bit of a strange one, that, because he came in with a good reputation, never got any minutes. So if we were to sell Trippier, ideally he would have been one to compete with Livermento, but that's not going to happen, I don't think.
Well, he's been injured almost the full time he's been away as well.
Right. I know he's had some injuries, like I don't know how long it's been for, but
no.
So
I think
I just think, like, go on.
Kraft is another, but what you opened up with was absolutely right. Having Trips and Livermento as a cover is perfect, because for me, right now, right at this moment in time, Trips is a better right back than what Livramento is. You know, Livramento will get better, and the
Aye.
fact that he's been called up for England says a lot. But I think if England are relying on Livramento to take us into a tournament with any serious hopes of winning, similarly with Hall, as I was saying this afternoon, if England are relying on Hall and Livramento as their fullbacks in full internationals, we're in trouble.
Well,
If
like
that's
Alan
the
says,
best we've
they're
got
still
as a
developing.
country. What's that, sorry?
Aye. Like Alan says, they're still developing. So
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah, like
And that's the
you're going
point.
to
That's
have
why
ups and
they're
downs.
starring in the under 18s and the under
Aye.
21s. But are they ready for the first team yet? I'm not so sure.
Well, for Newcastle, I would say to Trippier, after the start of the season, because I wasn't against Liverpool starting necessarily at the start of the season, but you could see when Trippier came on against Bournemouth and other games, you could see straight away he injected that quality and leadership. So I'd be tempted to say to Trippier, look, you're my first choice now. Forget what's happened at the start of the season. Forget about the captaincy. You're my first choice. Obviously, it depends on form as well. I've got to pick the team
Yeah.
based on that. But can you give us the season and we'll assess in the summer as my first choice? See what he says to that. But I think, like you say, Chris, I think it is. If he does go, then it's a slight problem. Like if Livramento then gets injured, so it's something we'll have to look at maybe.
Hmm. Yeah. By the way, it's important to keep in mind that not only those people or those players will run out of contracts. Also, Sean Longstaff, Fabian Scher, Dan Byrne, all have contracts set to expire at the end of the season, and it
7,
has
isn't it?
and it has already been decided that according to this to the Shield Gazette, that two of those will leave. They have we have a base to say, or even Eddie. We'll probably doubt that Eddie's really making this case that they need to leave. I think from what we've heard, he wants them to stay, but maybe somebody else is making those decisions, above Eddie and saying we're not going to deal with that. The player wants to leave, he got to go, and the other one doesn't stay healthy. Well, he's got to go as well. But it'd be interesting. I don't know what you guys think about long. Let me go with Alan. I don't know. What do you think about Longstaff? What do you think about Fabian Scher, Dan Byrne? Because if last season, and I'll go to you, everybody was this deadwood. These players that don't play good. When are we going to get rid of them? Well, I don't know if I agree necessarily with. I don't really use the deadwood word anyway, but it is what it is. Is whatever. But if that was the issue, if that's the issue, nothing like a perfect opportunity at the end of the season just to start fresh. Now you're gonna have to get players though, Alan, or else you're done if you let these go.
No, you're right. To be fair, I think it's similar to what Tim said, sort of near the start of the show, where, I think we need to start putting things in process so that we're not left in this predicament, where we're left with not just one or two sort of players coming towards the end, but as you were saying, 4, 5, 6, we're making it really difficult for ourselves. For the names that you mentioned, I think Shaw has got at least another 1, 2 seasons in him. Again, sort of similar to the Trippier point, I think the knowledge and the experience that he has, I think is invaluable in the squad. I think as well with Shaw, he's improving with age. I think he's sort of learning his craft even more so. I think he's developing his game. I think he might not have the sort of raw speed that he perhaps had a few years ago, but he seems to be reading the game a lot better. So for me, I think that would be someone I'd want to tie down. Sean Longstaff. Sean's a hard one. I think Sean, like all of us, I think he bleeds black and white. He'd give absolutely everything to the club. My worry with Sean would be, is he someone that I can see help us get to the next level? And by that, I mean, repeatedly getting European qualification and everything like that. And I see him as a squad player. If we were to hold on to him, perhaps using him in cup games, bailing out in injuries. But I don't see him as someone to sort of mould a squad around, build a team around, and look to the future that way. But because he is a Northeast lad and he gives everything to the cause, I think that's what perhaps holds me back from saying cut him adrift completely. I think if he'd come from London or wherever else, I think I'd be more so saying, right, yeah, thank you for all your help,
Don't
everything
be
else.
saying that to Chris, man. You're not allowed to have loyalty to Geordies on this show.
No, I never. No, you don't. I look at the football. If a player ain't good enough, he got to go. But I'm just a tough, a tough judge. But you have your opinion though, Alan.
Yeah. Well, I think I'll be one of these supporters that I'll always have a soft spot for people that come from the area.
Yep.
You cheer for one of your own. But at the same time, I do want us to be successful. I do want us to win things eventually. And as I say, I don't see him as being part of a starting 11 if you really wish and want to have success in the future.
Right. Tim, Waldo here saying Longburn and Shar will be needed if we get Europe next season with a heavy schedule. However, I mean, we know, for example, that Longstaff hasn't been performing. So, what is that? What good does that do? Because if he plays the Premier League and doesn't perform, he's going to get annihilated, just like he has been. You certainly wouldn't put him in Europe because that's probably the most important tournament you're going to play. So, are you getting him for the cups, for the Carabao Cup? At what point do we say if he's not good enough, we need to let him go? Or if you think he's good enough, then he can stay. Whatever, get him a new contract. But just with that Waldo's comment, we're going to need him for Europe. But if he's not good enough for the Premier League or Europe, what's the point? What do you think?
It is a tricky one, and maybe if you go back to when he finished fourth, if he's playing the odd game here and there without the pressure on his shoulders, maybe he could play, a bit more to that level, because he did play his part, didn't he? In that season,
Yeah.
he did score goals, and
True.
he was part of that structure of the side. But he obviously hasn't been good enough, has he? So in recent years, it is a bit of a pile-on with Longstaff these days, isn't it? And I do wonder if he's ever going to kind of be able to regain his kind of confidence in a way. Maybe he does need to move for a fresh start. It's kind of balancing, like you say, Alan. You want him to do well because he's a local lad, and it would be ideal if he was kind of back up and he could come in and do a good job now and again as a local lad as well. But like I say, I'm thinking it's getting to that point where does he need that fresh start? Because he hasn't been good enough in recent years. And with the midfield, I think we definitely, I think we need to strengthen that backup. And in terms of selling players, like Joe Willock, he's quality Willock. I like him. I've said before, I think he's more of a number 10. But is that the type of player that maybe we need to be ruthless with his injury record as well? To say, okay, if we can get money for him, and then you could buy, say, Ross Barkley, for example, in the summer. He went from free from Luton to Villa, and he comes in now and again for Villa. And he's quality, in my opinion. He's got that class. So somebody like that could have maybe came in and gave us that depth. Even Billy Gilmore, I would say, from Brighton, he went to, I think it was Lazio, for like 17 million.
Look at what McTominay's done.
I mean, to be fair, I was never one to
star of
get
the
him.
show
But
in Italy.
he is, from what I've heard, but I would say that, those types of players, I guess definitely Gilmore for me, when I'd seen him, he was a really quality number 6 who read the play and gave forward passes between the lines. People like him, people like Bartley, I think if we had those players as backup and we could get money from for Willock, that sort of cycle, that sort of trading is what we need to get better at. With Burn and Share, I think we need to keep them too. Like, definitely.
Yeah, I would.
Give them a year contract or 2 year. You can say like here's 1 year contract with the possibility of a second year if you hit these triggers. Potentially that, but I think either way, those two need to stay.
And that's the thing with Fabian Schär. I think he was a multi-year contract, and
Well,
the club might be wanting to do it just a year.
I mean,
But I
2
don't.
years. Was he 32? Coming up 33. I mean, again, he's professional. He's a model professional, isn't he? So even if just having him behind the scenes, nothing stupid like 3 or 4 years, obviously, but he's just like we're saying about Trippier and Tino. If you got Share as a mentor to, you know, a younger centre back. I was going to say Gahey. Don't know what's going on with that, but if we've got a younger centre back in over the next few years, I think that's a perfect combination. You got Burn there as well. He's a great leader. He can come in still. I think he has played well a lot of time this season at centre back. So I think those two are worth. It depends on the terms, but potentially another 2 years, providing we've got the money to get another quality centre back or two in the next few windows to kind of ease them out.
Yeah, interesting.
33 in December, Fabian Schär.
And Mighty Win, there was a good comment there that we're gonna get into the start comments in a minute, so you can have your opinion. That the reality is we're talking all these players probably added to 7, 6, 6, 7, whatever. Can't get rid of that many players and expect to buy the same amount. So really, that's not realistic because of PSR reasons.
No.
Unless because you're a financial expert on numptiness. So what do you think? Do we got the money or no?
Well, what I wouldn't be doing is getting rid of Longstaff and Willock and replacing them with a Ross Barkley or a Billy Gilmore, because that's just standstill for me. If we're selling them, we've got to get better. Every player we get rid of, we should be improving upon. That's the way I look at that. But like you say, to replace, I think we've got plenty of money, as you know, and to get rid of 7, you're going to struggle to buy 7 that are better than what we've got, which is what Eddie said time and again. When you've got good players, it's hard to replace them. And especially because, I don't know whether it's because we kind of undervalue them, because I personally kind of think of anybody that would come in and offer decent money for Willock or Longstaff or Murphy or Almiron.
Well, and that's the risk, though. That's the risk of giving these guys new contracts. Because if you say we got to give them new contracts because we want to sell them, what chances to sell them are you going to get?
No.
Instead of
what I say is we offer them less money, and if they think they can go and get more money somewhere else, well, good luck with that.
They won't take that, though. That's the thing. So then it's a case of them running down the contract.
So they're free agents then.
But can we? It depends who it is. But let's say Willock.
Well, Fabian Schär, let's take him out the equation, because I think we can all agree that Fabian Schär needs to get a contract. Even with Margui coming on, if he comes, which I think we'll continue to pursue him. But everybody else, Tim.
I just think it's finding the right time, and if a player isn't going to accept a new contract, I mean, to be fair, not necessarily Burn and Longstaff, but I'm thinking of the likes of Willock. You can't let them go on free. You need to get money. So I'm just thinking from the point of view of refreshing the squad.
What I'm saying is you can't get money if nobody's prepared to pay it.
But we don't know, do we? This is, who knows? We don't know behind the scenes. Maybe there were inquiries and they've been battered away. Like, this is what I'm saying. If a player if a player is doing quite well, but you can foresee they've got injury issues, for example, this is what I mean. Perhaps we need to find that right time to sell where there would be suitors, because actually they're looked upon as good players and they're doing quite well. So, but they've got injury issues, or maybe they're not fitting in the system, whatever. So yeah, and you can sell one player and get two. If a player is available on a free, like Ross Barkley, I'm not saying he's miles ahead of what we've got. I'm just saying I think you've got to be clever in that if there's a chance to get a couple of players in, more numbers because one of them is on a free.
Yeah,
then
on a free, I would agree with you.
Because he wasn't a free. So I think he had a clause in his contract where if Luton got relegated, he could go on a free. I think that's what Villa did. So if you were able, I think we need to be cleverer and trading that way. That's what I'm trying to say. With like Longstaff and Burn, I agree. There's not going to be many suitors
Oh, I think
for
there'll
them.
be plenty of suitors for BDB.
Oh my God!
Well,
Here we go.
I mean, it depends. I think yes, some would have them, but they're not going to be
There'll
playing
certainly be more for him than there will for Longstaff,
That's a
in
fact.
my opinion.
Well, although Longstaff been rumored with Leicester City, with Leeds, those are proper clubs, man, for somebody like
Well,
Longstaff.
except they've never come in and put any money down, have they?
Well, they haven't put any money for Burn either.
Well, it's never been up for sale.
No, none of them has been up for sale. None of them. Only Mente and Anderson, and they got sold. We sold the good ones. But it'll be interesting to see. I mean, we'll see what happens in the winter window. I just don't see us getting rid of that many players in the winter. Having their contracts expired in the summer. If you want some type of money, you would have to sell them in the winter.
Well, you've still got 6 months for them to prove themselves and earn a new contract.
Yeah, oh my. Okay, but are they, man? Do you have hopes that Longstaff can do that?
Nope.
That I mean, you get. I think Byrne is a squad player. I think you get. He's being started now, but Mark Gate comes on and Botman comes back. I mean, come on. Let's.
This is what I mean, Chris. Like Longstaff, there might have been suitors for Longstaff after at the end of or in the middle of last season, or even at the end of last season, there might have been suitors where he still got longer on his contract. So is it a case of balancing that and being a bit more ruthless and trading better that way? This is what I mean.
Yeah.
Rather than letting it linger and linger, and then all of a sudden the player's got 6 months left, a year left, and you're not going to get any money for them.
Yep, that is good. All right. Well, let's go to the comments real quick so people can have their opinion read out loud. Start. There we go. We got a lot of these messages. Tony says, "I don't think Trippier's leadership is there anymore. Watching the match cams, he just doesn't seem to interact anymore. Suggesting his heart's not in it anymore." Interesting. I have seen him though. With his teammates, talking to him. I've seen some of that leadership
him on the
there.
touch line, running up and down the touch line when he's been a sub.
Now you can say though, leadership is not there when the guy is blatantly want to leave the club, but it's his right as well. So I
just think he's a super
it depends.
pro.
I agree. Okay.
Yep. Niall Powell, he's nearly 34. Let him start afresh after what has happened with his family. Well, we don't know what's happened with his family, but it's irrelevant to football, really. Well, nothing is irrelevant, but we don't know what's happened, so we can't really talk much about that. Beer Bike and Trippier's wages are more than Dummett and Richie's combined. Is he over 100? He is, isn't he?
Trippier is 100, I think.
That was the rumor.
Yeah, that's a tough one. That's a tough one, man. He's on 100. He wants to leave. Now, lots of clubs will take him. If Beer Viking saying Mighty Win doesn't get rid of anything, he still has a black and white TV and a gramophone. What the hell is a gramophone, man?
It's a record player.
Oh my gosh. Tony here says, give Wilson a new 4-year contract. You never know. He may manage to play another 20 games for the tune. 20 games in 4 years. Damn, man. Foxy here says, Wilson will have a number of clubs looking to take him, even with his injury record. He can still score. He can still score enough goals that makes the difference to a team's season. Just not reliable to be the main guy anymore. Japadoni says, get a striker that could partner him on occasion. Yeah. If you get an elite striker, though, he will have to start. So you got to play him and Isak.
125 Kieran Trippier's on.
125 interest. Jimmy had a comment that made me laugh. Can't see the point on keeping Wilson. It's like me saying I'm mint at sex when I have company. When I have company. Exactly. That's the one. Matt Fletcher says Wilson will be injured in January and end of season. End of season, a hard sell if injured. Yeah, it will be. That's a fact. That's why we couldn't. There were people coming in for Lascelles. Besiktas, one of them, and we couldn't get rid of him, could we? After he got injured. Jordan Brentwall says Victor Osimhen is on loan in Turkey. Go get him. Great in the airspace. He's a top striker. Now I agree with that, and I actually thought about it. He wants to leave Napoli, and he's going to Turkey. Everybody was surprised that he's going to Turkey for less money. No, he's not really, because he doesn't want to be at Napoli, and this is just basically a sabbatical from elite football. He still gets paid. What if you convince him to come to the Premier League and play for Newcastle, one of the best projects out there? He declined Chelsea. He wasn't getting the money he wanted. Now he would probably want like 300K a week or 250, something like that. He would want a lot of money, but he is a top talent in Europe. What do you guys think about Osimhen? Alan, let me start with you. Would you have him in the tune?
It's again that's a hard one. Trying to weigh up wages, ability, and everything else. I think I would get behind anyone that was given the shirt. I would like to see anyone succeed. Just speaking from your gut, when you mention that sort of wages, I would like to perhaps go down a different route and maybe try someone who's a little bit more sort of financially stable for the club. I think you're saying he's good in the air and everything else. I'd want a hell of a lot from him if we're paying that sort of fee for him. And to me, that's just as big a risk as it is with someone that's injured all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I think you look at the likes of Brighton, who go down the sort of European market and try and get the sort of unknowns. I wouldn't mind if we went out and tried to do something like that. Perhaps maybe it's not take so much of a risk that it's someone completely unknown, but to go for someone for that cost, I just think that's a little bit too much for where we're at this moment in time.
Yep. Anybody else take a bid on Osimhen?
Galatasaray are paying him 170K.
Yeah, it's basically what he's getting paid at Napoli.
But no. Napoli were paying him 250. Well, 250 euros there, so 220.
But I would question why some of the other top clubs didn't go for him. Chelsea were looking for a striker.
Well, Chelsea
Why
went
didn't
for
they
him.
get him?
Chelsea
But
did go for him.
In the end, though, they didn't.
Yeah, because what happened was Chelsea wouldn't pay his Napoli salary. So the salary situation at the minute is that Galatasaray are paying 198,000 euros, and Napoli are still paying him 98,000 euros.
Yeah.
Aye. So I think we're not going to pay that, and
but at some point you're gonna have to. That's what elite clubs pay, man.
I know what you mean. I agree to an extent, but I think when you're on that journey, it can't just go from A to Z. It has to be that build up, and I think somebody like you say about Brighton. Remember João Pedro we were going for a few years ago from Watford. Somebody like that will be perfect. Where he's went to Brighton, I think from what I've seen, I think he's got quality. He's proved that he's really talented. So if you had somebody like João Pedro with Isaac, where João Pedro wants to start, but he's not going to be throwing his toys out the pram like a superstar might if he's not starting every game. And then you've got Asula. So like João Pedro, I don't know, is he like 23, 24? So he's got a bit of experience. He's still young, but so you've got him, then you've got Asula, who's only like 20, I think, 21.
Mhm.
That to me is a if we can keep Isaac, that's a really good dynamic.
Yep. All right. More comments. Matt Fletcher says Wilson will be injured in January. Oh, we already read that one. Silence is lovely. Says I need to know our transfer window strategy this January 1st. Not blow the bank on one player. 2, bring in talent for multiple first team positions. And 3, oh, sorry. Sorry about that. And 3, at long last, bring in a right winger. There you go. Apologize for that, man. Just came out of nowhere. Waldo says Wilson stays fit if Isaac on the right. Golden stays fit, Isaac on the right, and Gordon on the left. We finish 4th, says Waldo. More comments here. David T. To be fair, we have 2 strikers who can't play rock, paper, scissors without getting injured. I'd honestly take 90 to 100 million for both if it meant getting 2 quality forwards in January. Man, I don't know. Isaac is a top striker, man. I think I wouldn't agree with that, but Gary says you have to look at Tripp's in injury rate over the last 6 months. It is more the fact that his body's failing now. Maybe wise to let him go now rather than offering him another year. Well, he's hurt right now, so that's a fact. Brant says Longstaff is not a player that should play a lot of minutes in a team that is expected to be top 4 year after year and eventually challenge for the league. There you go. Jam Stasher, wow, we really don't want to sell anyone other than Miggy. Let's sell Longstaff. I'm sure we could find a younger midfielder who can do what he does at the very least. There you go. Well, those are some of the comments that are coming in that have been starred. Did you guys did you guys see that shirt that's going around?
Yeah.
That home kit?
Yeah, awful.
Oh,
Yeah.
man. Unbelievable. There you go. Look at that. That's what, the first prediction, the second prediction improved. I don't know how much it improved. And I mean, I'm not going to say that we don't look, I mean, these companies don't look in advance, etc. But, and to be honest, it wouldn't matter if they were actually working on the next year's kit. But this is not going to be it. If they want money, this has to be a piss take. Come on.
I don't think it's necessarily a piss take. It's a
Oh, here we
variation of
go,
the theme.
man. This dude is the devil's advocate, man. I'm telling you. That's why we just yell at each other all the time, man. They just can't. How can
There will
anybody
be
like this shirt?
No, the
there will be a
right hand
pattern on
side.
it.
I'm on about the right hand side one. The left hand side one is yuck. But
Aye.
the proper black and white
They
stripes
just
is.
they just
I
painted
just think I like more black than white.
they just painted this a little more, man. It's like
No,
it's
well, that's
the
a
same
proper
thing, basically.
That's a proper black and white stripe.
No, it isn't. Look at the squares. Look at the. Come on, man.
It's like grey and silver, isn't it?
What kind of denim is it?
Mm.
This is
It's got
not
that
good.
pattern. That pattern. It's like shepherd's. It's called shepherd's pattern, whatever. I don't know, but I think footy headlines are reliable. So it hopefully won't look like that, but there will be that type of pattern embedded somewhere on the kit. So it might look alright, but not if it's going to be like that.
I
Well,
think that might be okay if the shoulders were black. The
well,
shoulders and the sleeves were black.
I just don't. The whole model in itself is not good. It's not good. But I mean, even if the sleeves are white, I mean, we played with shirts like that before. When you got the same colors, but you can't change your colors, obviously. So, or design as far as the stripes is concerned, and all that. So you're gonna have to spice it up. Sometimes it will be black sleeves. Sometimes it will be white sleeves. So that's whatever you prefer. But the whole design here looks like crap, man. It's just not good enough. And a lot of people are actually running with this sharing it, reposting, and all that. Now it's going viral amongst Newcastle fans. And the good thing is, if it is true that they leaked this, they now know what the fans are not going to buy, and hopefully they do something about it. And if it's fake, 'cause this looks fake to me. But with that being said, this kind of, along with the mag wrote this article and about. I think you guys talked about it a bit with Gary in the breakfast show, and it will be interesting to get Alan and Tim's perspective on this as well. Is our shirt sponsors and sponsorship deal? Newcastle United. Well, what were we getting when we were with Castor? Like what? Like £2 a week or something like that?
7.
7 million a year.
Yeah.
So, and that's just wait.
No,
So
you're saying Castor. Sorry, they're the manufacturers.
Yeah,
we had Fun 88.
Yeah, but Adidas pays us a lot of money now. So
right,
what
you're
was
talking about? You're not talking about the sponsors here. You're talking about
right, yeah. So
we get 40 million off Adidas.
you get 40 million for Adidas.
Yeah.
Where'd you get that from?
That has been reported. I think it might be based on triggers, achieving a certain position or something. But
Because as far as I got it right now, I got it on my screen. It's combined Sella and Noon. Well, that's again the manufacturer and sponsorship, two different things. So let's focus on sponsorship. Sella and Noon combined, both of those get us £32 million. Some people do tend to complain that we don't get enough money or whatever, but we are sixth in the league as far as shirt sponsorship is concerned. I wouldn't necessarily say that's a bad. I mean, that's a bad position to be. I mean, obviously we'd rather be higher, but the fact that we are literally below the top 6, if you care for that, which I don't think is an accomplishment to be honest, but it is what it is. I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing. You're getting £32 million for sponsors.
We're getting £50 million a year less than Man United.
Yeah, but so then we're gonna get into this conversation. Okay, perfect. I know that we are I'm a Newcastle fan. Obviously, we are Newcastle fans. The Newcastle fan channel. But let's be realistic here. We don't have the following that Manchester United has. Therefore, they can say we have these trillions of people watch us, billions, say, and that's a lot more than people watch Everton or Leicester. So we need to give more money because your brand will be exposed more with me than with other clubs, and that is a fact, though.
Well,
you might have went
your brand will be exposed more, depending on how many live televised games you have in a season. And by and large, Newcastle are one of the most televised clubs in the league.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
And we might get, I don't know, 2 or 3 less, if that, than Man United.
But that's if that's your argument, that's just in England, because everywhere in the world you can watch any team you want. Yeah. So not legally in England, because you can actually watch.
If that's your argument,
because you can watch any.
Then they should all get the same.
No. I think Newcastle should get more than Ipswich.
The only valid argument that I've heard, which Gary came up with actually this afternoon, was, and the reason that Adidas pay Man United £80 million a season compared to our £40 million a season is because they sell twice as many units. And thereby, every unit that they sell, which has got the sponsor's name on it, you are getting that additional exposure and not just the actual 90 minutes that people are watching on the television. So that was it. That was an absolutely valid point that I took on board. Mm-hmm. The fact that Man United have got twice as many shirts worldwide, probably more than twice as many shirts worldwide.
That means a lot.
That means a lot. And that would validate why Adidas pay Man United twice as much as they pay us. because they're
Right.
selling twice as many units.
Yeah.
But
So-
it's also a bit of an argument for brand recognition and exposure, because with all the millions of extra Man United shirts out there, just with people walking around the streets on a
They're
day-to-day
seeing them,
basis,
and not only that, you're taking into
they
account
are
that
getting that exposure as well. So
and
not just the exposure
and
that's on the
and
TV.
and the fact that Man U can say, and we're talking about Man United, but look at Man City. Man City can say to the sponsor, you got to pay me more because every year I'm playing in Europe. More people will watch me.
Yeah,
More
well,
people
I
will
agree
watch
with
me
that.
in any cups, in the Premier League, in the FIFA World Cup of clubs that nobody takes account. A lot of people watch all over the
That
world.
nobody
Uh,
watches.
yeah, a lot of people watch actually. You don't watch it, but a lot of people know watch it. Maybe when you in Newcastle, we never been there, but once we do, but Man City do actually. So Real Madrid, all this club, that's a lot more exposure. They have more exposure than any of the other clubs, and that's why they get all this money. And with that, I'm saying Newcastle should get paid more money than Ipswich, than Fulham, than Leicester, than Everton. We also have to prove it on paper and say, look, we make it to Europe every season, mate. You're gonna have to give me some money. But if we're not really a European, consistent type club. So that's
Yeah,
what we're dealing with at the moment. That's why we can't just bring in anybody to pay us whatever we want. You were looking at more of a playing field, and that just can't happen nowhere.
that's where the majority of that's what advertisers are paying for.
Yeah, no,
Television.
really though. I
Yeah,
don't know
yeah,
what.
yeah. Yes, yes, really.
No, let me get Tim and Alan's perspective on this. Do you think that a sponsor will say, well, any small club, Brighton, plays in the Premier League, so all of a sudden you should get paid the same as a Liverpool that's in the Premier League?
I'm not saying you should get paid the same.
I asked Tim and Alan a question. Go on, Tim. Actually, go first.
It's purely down to that company, isn't it? And like you've said, if a club isn't in Europe, for example, then obviously the company in question are not going to be willing to pay the same amount of money as they would another club that is in Europe and has the history as well. So it's down to us to try and get in Europe as much as possible. Even Europa League Conference, even that's something. So it's purely dependent on that. I mean, before Mike Ashley came in, we actually we were like our income was right up there, and we've actually done well to overcome the damage that he did in that way, where he absolutely kind of decimated the club in regards to the finances around sponsorship and income, because it was all about sports, his company. So we were like miles ahead of Spurs, I think. And obviously they're a London club. Even I think back in 2005, 6, 7, before Ashley was there, we were ahead of them. So now we've done well to recover from that, whatever 12 years it was. But now I think in general, it's purely down to the company, isn't it? As to what they want to pay. So I think I wouldn't want. I mean, I don't know necessarily what the argument is, what you're saying in terms of what should happen, but
Well,
I
the main thing is because we always trying to get more money for Newcastle, right? Or argue that we need to get more money. Can we argue that we can get more money, that we should get more money, that we're already getting right now, based on
right. I mean, get other sponsors for like training ground and stuff.
No,
Well,
no.
Is that what you
I mean,
mean?
Get
just for
seller to pay more and
just
Noon to
yeah,
pay more.
exactly. So let's get Sella is a Saudi-owned club, or I mean, company. So they should people think this right? This I don't think like this. A business person would say Sella. If I'm in charge of Sella, I could care less about what. I mean, I would probably try to do a business with Newcastle since we owned by the same people, but I need to do what's best for Sella
Yeah.
first before anything else. So how can we go to Sella and say we need more money? On what basis do we need more money? Can we
They've
get
got
more?
no obligation. Yeah, they've got no
That's
obligation
it.
to give us more money. I'm assuming. I think the money we're getting is very likely from those companies, the maximum that you can realistically get. Um, So we're not in a position, and no club is in a position to be saying to a company, you should be paying more, because if you could get more, you would go in with a company, because you'd have another company willing to do that, to take over that sponsorship. So it's down to us to improve on the field, and naturally the likes of Salah will be willing to pay more. And maybe, like you say, the Saudi link, people think, okay, do it behind the scenes where it's we're kind of colluding that way, but I think it's clear that that's not going to be happening, and that, like you say, Salah are an independent company, and they want to, at the moment anyway, with the FFP, we'll see what happens after the Man City outcome, but at the moment that's not going to happen.
And I don't necessarily agree. I want to get to Alan's take on this, though. I don't necessarily agree with this. B-Racket says Hella can't pay more because of APT fair market value. I still don't know. I mean, I'm sure that you'll be able to gauge, that Man U, gets all this money because of that, and Liverpool the same, and Man City the same. But what stops them? They're already getting paid 80 million. So what stops us from going up to, what are we, 32 to 50? How is that? Now, yeah,
Well,
but Ipswich cannot argue that. So I don't know who was trying to get in. Oh, there you go, Alan. Sorry.
just make Chris, realistically, Chris, I mean, Ipswich, like everyone else, could go and ask for that. I mean, the chances of them receiving that 30, 40, 50 million that you've just said is slim to none. But there's nothing stopping them from doing that, similar to us. But at the end of the day, these companies are companies. They're not individual fans who, sort of desire the club to, go on and win things. They're there to make money and to grow themselves.
That's right. Thank you so much, Mighty Mag, for the gift of membership, and it has gone to Robert Edwards. So congrats, Robert, and please renew your membership once it's your trial is up. Thank you so much to Mighty Mag. But yeah, like you said, again, we tend to look at this as fans and think that all of us, Saudi Arabia owns us now, so all their companies just give us money. Don't work like that, because they have to.
Oh, of course.
They have to. They can't just go bankrupt and do Newcastle United favors. They have to run their company the proper way.
Are you for real?
Yeah, I am for real. What do you think? Salah's going to say?
They do exactly work like that. If we weren't governed by, right at the minute, fair market value with associated party transactions, Salah would be paying us £100 million a year.
How can you believe this, man? When
because
you think Salah's going to go,
PIF want to put as much money as they can into Newcastle United.
But
by the way,
Salah
have already said in a statement that the shirt sponsorship of Newcastle had a cataclysmic effect on inquiries to them since they started advertising on our shirts.
So
they've had to double the marketing department.
Yeah, fair enough. That's fair enough. So if they find that it makes sense, I just don't see a proper company that is trying to generate money. I know we were talking about PIF having money. I'm sure they want to also multiply their money via their companies. That's why they invest in the company instead of just, what are they doing it for? Is that a hobby? Is that like playing football in the streets? No, they want to make money.
They've bought Newcastle for 330 million. It's already worth $1 billion.
Exactly. Perfect.
And they can see that other clubs are being valued at 3, 4, 5 billion right now.
Only a
so
few.
They know so they know what the exponential growth of the value of Newcastle United could be, which is why they don't mind throwing a few $100 million at it.
Yeah,
it depends on the motivation, doesn't it?
It depends on the what, sorry, Tim?
Just the motivation of the company in question. So if the motivation is to improve the image of Saudi and to improve the amount of visitors that they get,
which it is,
then from that point of view, then they might well pay way over the odds for sponsorship money to improve their image, to get the West to visit Saudi Arabia. So from that point of view, yeah, that could have. But any other normal kind of situation in regards to a company on their own, where it's not about a nation, obviously they're not going to suddenly hike from what we're getting now to suddenly to what Man United are getting. But it's all like it's all dependent on the situation of the company and the situation of that the relationship with the club. So
Mhm.
hypothetically, if they want to completely throw everything at it in the name of raising awareness for Saudi Arabia, then it happened, didn't it, with Man City? What they did before the
Well,
rules came in, they
Saudi are doing it with live golf,
I,
with
I,
the Saudi league, with the boxing they're putting on now, with the snooker
yeah,
that they're doing now.
yeah.
The money is no object,
yeah, yeah. I can
and the
understand
only
that.
thing that's preventing us getting our hands on that money is these
But what?
rules,
So,
which have now
but
been proven to be
so
unlawful.
there is no rule. So now they're unlawful. So why, if it's all about money, and they can do whatever they want, why haven't they just done it?
I don't know.
So
I
because
don't know.
then you have to say they might have something to do with. You got to try to think of why they haven't done it all of a sudden, because they could,
I
right?
Because
think the
They can do
clubs,
whatever
at
they
the
want.
minute they want to be squeaky clean. They don't want to rock the
yeah,
boat. They don't want to take any chances.
I just
I agree.
I don't know. I don't know that they'll. I might be wrong, but I don't think they'll
If
say I'm
the
going to give
shackles
Newcastle
were off,
100
we
million.
would be having 100 million from Aramco, 100 million from Saudi Telecom, and 100 million from Salah.
It depends on what the clubs agree. The
Man,
clubs need to agree to the rules. So the clubs all agreed to this fair market value.
yeah.
Maybe
Yeah,
not
but that's
all of them,
been
but do you
proven
know
to
what I mean?
be
They got a
unlawful
majority.
now.
I know it's been ruled now, but now what they need to do is sit down at a table and come to say, okay, after this ruling, we need to have X, Y, and Z in place where there is more leeway, but there's
Well, I mean,
still something in
And
place
that's
because
exactly what I'm saying. Now is the chance. This is a window that we've got to mark our own homework, so we can just go get whatever deals in we want. And then if the Premier League kick up a fuss about it, we just say, do you really want to go to court on this when you know you're going to lose?
by the way, putting market value in deals is not illegal.
What are you
Is
talking about?
what they done blatantly writing their name and say we got to do something against the Gulf region, buying teams or whatever. They bought Newcastle. They put all of that is illegal. But just saying, putting rules in a deal saying Man City deserves more money because they compete here, they go here, they go here. They have all these fans. They have all of this compared to a smaller team. They might have a base to putting in um, the fair market thing in the deals. And so something that was illegal as well was the obvious, associated party stuff. Um, but putting market value into
Well,
the
that's
deals is
exactly
not
the
illegal.
point. It's the associated parties
Exactly. Yeah,
transactions
but
that we're
you're saying that
talking
they're gonna
about.
you're saying that they're gonna give us 100 million. But if they put in a fair market rule there, then you can't just say 100 million, 200 million. You can't just do what you're saying they're going to do.
Why not?
It has to make sense on paper. Why Newcastle United should earn 100 million a year?
Because we think that we I'm speaking on behalf of the sponsor now, because we think they're worth that.
Yeah, but I mean, obviously, you must really think pigs fly if you think that the Premier League and all the other teams are going to vote in favor of Newcastle and Man City, two teams.
They've got no option.
No, they don't. They can
What they're
put
doing now is unlawful.
like
putting fair
Salah,
market
for
value is not
example,
unlawful, man.
Salah could say it, and all the others could say it is worth it. We think it's worth it because, from our point of view, again, it's raising the awareness to Saudi Arabia. It's advertising this country to the West, and we're going to get more visitors, and we're going to modernize that way. So, from their point of view, if they put ridiculous money in, they might say it's still worth it because what they're getting back,
Right.
is justifiable. But they could put in an obscene amount of money, and it's the reason why the like you say, Chris, the Premier League and others are going to be unhappy with that and potentially stop it again or
The
try to
voting.
is it's because we could literally hypothetically go from there, to there, and leave other clubs absolutely miles behind because it's
What you're
absolute
saying is we could
bottomless
buy the
pit.
league.
Aye,
Well, not
absolutely buy the
necessarily though.
league.
Hang
I
on,
mean,
we could
Well,
buy the league.
it's not going to work
not
straight
not
away, but
necessarily
it's
league.
because
As
by the
Man
way,
City did,
yeah,
well,
as Abramovich did,
yeah.
yeah.
as
You
Jack
don't want to
Walker
repeat
did,
that.
Just because, by the way,
as
just
the
because you
Arsenal
buy,
Bank of England team did.
hold on, not. I mean, they had good teams, mate. They play football, so
Because they bought the best players.
exactly. So we should be able to do that. Now, just buying as the Galacticos didn't win the damn thing, and they had the best players in the history of football. So, but the chances are higher. I agree with you on that. And I want nothing but Newcastle to have £1 trillion in their bank account to buy all the players they want. However,
I'm
looking at it,
we now have, we have
looking
got
at it
a window
realistic,
now. We've got a window now when we can do that.
looking at it realistically, the voting is not going to change. The way they put rules is not going to change. And if they add a fair market value to the new rules or whatever, they're going to do it because only Man City, say Aston Villa, who else?
Who decides what fair market value? We can say fair market value is what Man United are getting paid, what Man City are getting paid, what Liverpool are getting paid.
They can, like I said, Man City, Liverpool, they can give you an argument football wise that makes sense. We unfortunately cannot do that.
Yes, we can, because the sponsors can turn around and say, we are confident that if we spend this money with Newcastle United, they will improve sufficiently to be on the same level as all of these other clubs that you're going through. And
but that's not a
they
reason.
as sponsors are spending their money, and it's up to them how they spend it. And if they believe that's the case, so be it. You can't argue with it. You can't say nothing about fair market value or anything along those lines. It's been done in the league for 150 years.
Okay.
The richest team wins.
Oh, that's a fact.
The correlations are all there. Salary versus league position.
Yeah, that's a fact. The richest team, but I just don't see them bending their arm as easy as you think.
No, because the Red
they will.
Cartel want to make sure they stay at the top and nobody else can come and join the gravy train, as Man City and Chelsea have done in the recent past.
Yep. All right. Well, look, we had a good discussion.
There's only 5 places available for the Champions League.
Yep.
And they want to make sure that they are still
Yeah,
occupying those 5 places.
But they don't really though. So that just those 5 places doesn't mean much because I mean Chelsea doesn't qualify, hasn't qualified. All Man United are not playing. Tottenham are not. They're not. They're not. Just because you have those 5, 6 places doesn't mean that they're always going to make it because they don't. That's a fact.
That's with very, very rare exceptions, those 6 clubs occupy the top 4 places.
Well,
Leicester,
got to be a reason for that.
Leicester have pushed it once. We've pushed it once.
Like I said,
Villa have pushed it once.
Well, yeah, I do agree.
Out of 25 years, and this is it, and this is quite recently, and the cartel are saying, "Whoa, we can't have this."
And we also got to do our part as well as fans because we got fans not wanting to get a new stadium, and new stadium will only get us more money. So, as fans, we also got to pick our poison. We got to decide what we want. We're going to complain about the cartel 6 or 5 or 10 or red cartel, purple cartel, or are we going to do something about it? And there are fans that don't want to get a new stadium. Just one of those things out there as well. So we got to make up our mind. But we had a great show.
I don't think there's a single fan who doesn't want a new stadium.
You're really? Come on, man. You need to get out more, man. You need to talk to fans. They're all over the place.
Hang on.
I don't want a new stadium.
There you go, right there.
I don't want a new stadium. Yeah. There you go. I don't want a new stadium.
What do you think about the stadium?
You're doing a brand new stadium. It's in James's Park.
If that was the only option that we had, Win, a brand new stadium, then I'd still be there. I'd support the lads and everything else. However, in my opinion, there is bigger things than money in football, and the history and everything that comes with it. St James's Park is our home win. We've got to do absolutely everything we can to stay there.
Well, I agree with that.
But I mean, we can't.
But if we can't, so
we need to see the
are you
feasibility
happy? Are
study.
you happy staying at 52,000, where the likes of you can't get a ticket?
If we well, no, this is what I'm saying. If we have no other alternative whatsoever, then okay. But what I'm saying is, I would like to try and perhaps expand it slightly and build from there.
Right, and
I mean,
if you work on the assumption, which are all the estimates that were being given now, that it's going to cost up to £1 billion to add. We're talking about modifying the existing stadium. It's going to cost £1 billion to add about 12,000 seats.
Yeah,
we don't know that.
Well, that's what
like I said,
this is from
just
the report.
But you know, you can have your opinion. You know, so it's not. And the island is not alone, by the way. By the way, you need to get out because people out there don't want to move. I was on Twitter the other.
Ideally, I don't want to move.
I was on yeah, but the realistic. I was on Twix the other day, and some people were just saying, you know, there's this new woke modern plastic fans that want to move out of St. James's Park. That's what that person was saying. Nothing to do with Allen, obviously, nothing to do with the other people that just want to stay because they love St. James's Park the way it is. But, you know, there is a big discussion out there saying that new fans are promoting this move to a new stadium, which is bollocks. I mean, old fans like you, and I don't know, Tim, I don't know if we ever got your opinion on that, but you can give it to me, that might want to go to a new stadium because it will bring more money, and it's far more than just the seats, by the way, which obviously brings more money in that in itself. But it's the experience, everything else, restaurants and all that stuff. It brings a lot more money. But actually, Tim, I don't remember, man. Did I ever ask you what would you like as a fan?
We spoke about it. Was it last week? And I was saying that I want to see the feasibility study. I mean, the 1 billion I think was on the premise of it literally being in every new stand. I think as opposed to just a new tier.
They were going to have to tear it down, like the Milburn, behind the Milburn, you know, around the area, those parking lots, basically. It was more than just painting. You know, it's a bigger thing. That could be what Alan would like as well. You know, just a big remodel.
No, I mean I'm along the same lines, and I was saying that last week that you know when you look at Spurs, and they've had their new stadium, they've had their amazing NFL games, their amazing concerts, and all that. So what trophies have they won in the last whatever years? Where did they finish? A couple of years ago, 8th in the league. So my point was that
they've been in the Champions. They've been in the Champions League.
I know, and yes, obviously you want to increase your revenue, but all my point is that it's not a magic wand.
Exactly.
People might think it is. So you've got to be careful. In you can't just suddenly click your fingers and go, okay, we're going to have a few more concerts and all. Everything's going to be dandy. And I think we need to see the feasibility study and see it from there because, like you say, Alan, I think I'm not one to just toss away all the history of St James's Park on a whim. And if there is possibilities, maybe they could modify some of it and keep whatever's there. I don't know. We need to find. None of us know all the facts. So, but I certainly would want to try, like Alan says, to stay there, as opposed to right now sitting here and saying I want a new stadium. I want to move to wherever, Leazes Park or God forbid outside the city centre.
Yeah, no, I think if you ask me, because Jordan here is asking me, I don't know, he's just asking me, and I'll answer his question. He's saying that, Chris, are you willing to stay at St. James's Park and pay over £100 per game? Because that will happen if we don't move. And I'm 40 years plus fan. I'm a 40-year plus fan. If you ask me, there's just absolutely no way that we can make the current St. James's Park a state-of-the-art restaurants and experience type park. You know, and get to what people want, probably a 70,000 seat or 75, whatever. If you want that, there's just no way to do it currently. So I think the best option would go to Leases Park, right there in the city center, build a brand new one. I don't believe St. James's Park needs to be torn down. People will say, well, you have to do something's got to give because you got to give that land back to the city, whatever. I would do anything because I think St. James's Park is a historic building at this point in time. So, but that's what I think. And do I think I have the right answer? No, because every fan is going to think every fan's got a right to say whatever they want and to choose whatever they want. So I that's why I'm going in January because I want to be at St. James's Park. I don't want to. I don't just want to show up to the new stadium because I feel like I would be missing a piece of history. Um, but it's a
just a comment on Jordan's comment though, Chris. He's on about would you be happy to stay to Newton pay £100 a ticket? If you think, Jordan, that by expanding St James's Park or moving to a new stadium or whatever, increasing the capacity, if you think the fact that they're increasing capacity will have any effect on the ticket prices, then I think you're sadly mistaken. It's just because they've got more seats, they're not going to suddenly start selling them cheaper. The reason they want more seats is to make.
Well, like I said, that's why season ticket holders' price is going to go up probably if you get a new stadium.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's and Alan's got a comment there. Look, nobody has the right answer, but everybody's got entitled to everybody, all our fans, and nobody should be scrutinized for our opinion. So, but there is a big. It's not just what you were saying, Mighty Wayne. That who's arguing against a new stadium? What? Wake up, mate. Go out there because people are arguing about
they're arguing about staying at St James's Park.
Yeah,
staying on the site of St James's Park, which I am absolutely all for, and I'd knock bloody Lee's Terrace down and move into the park if necessary to expand.
That would be ideal, but
that's utopia for me.
But that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying, and I was saying before. Fans got to make up their mind because.
But you can't do one without the other. I don't think.
Yeah, well,
you can't suitably expand St James's Park without breaking a few eggs to make the omelette. But Elisa's Park's going to have to go, or Elisa's Terrace is going to have to go.
Well, the Elisa's Terrace is those buildings behind the right. The Lisa's End. That's what they're called.
The East Stand.
No, the East Stand. Sorry, I keep saying this. They don't want to move. They don't want to. They don't want to sell, or they don't want to. They don't want to. Those are the ones that are called historic buildings, right?
Yeah, and the same behind
behind
the Lisa's End is Lisa's Park.
Exactly. So it's just nothing gives. Something's got to give, man. I'm telling you.
Well, that's right.
And you will not keep fans happy though, because some people are gonna say, well, those historic buildings have been there since the Mighty Wind was born. Well, Mighty Wind.
It's not an easy situation.
Not at all, man. Not at all. But anyways, we'll definitely come back and have more discussion on all things Newcastle United. Thank you so much for coming on, for showing up. And welcome, Alan. You've been great, mate. So we definitely got to get you back. Lovely.
Thank you.
Lovely having you on. Tim, of course, with great takes.
What was your channel again, Alan?
Cheers.
War Club.
It's War Club.
War Club.
YouTube.
There you go.
Yeah, it's on YouTube. So we'll definitely have him on, and we'll try to pin the link or something on the chat. That way we can get him on. James Scuff says, Chris, those buildings aren't that old, are they? As I said, the Mighty Wind, they were put up when the Mighty Wind was born. But listen, and he's gonna answer. Look, he gets it. Alan, as long as you don't get caught up in the chat, man, because look at Mighty Wind right now. It's typing like a little 2-year-old, trying to answer back. But no, it's been a great show, man. Really good stuff. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. Thank you, Tim. Thank you, Alan. Thank you, Mighty Wind. We'll see you tomorrow on the 9:30, I'm sure. Again, live with another show. Thank you so much, folks. We'll see you in the next one. Cheers.
How are the lads?